Linas Linkevičius, diplomat and former Minister of Foreign Affairs and the former Minister of National Defense of Lithuania, is the next guest of Spotlight Ukraine, and now we're gonna talk about the Western help. So, hello and welcome. Labas vakaras.
Good evening, labas vakaras.
So, Ukraine is expected to receive tanks from the Western partners in the upcoming months. Is it enough to conduct a successful new counteroffensive?
Well, enough will be enough, and we all know that the support is going, but definitely going too slow. And those self-inflicted red lines, I would say, they're also not helping. And that was since very beginning. It was very, very difficult to decide on anti-tank weapons. Later it was difficult to decide on HIMARS. Now about tanks, it was big, long story and overshadowed success, I would say, of last Ramstein meeting. But I really hope that now time comes for a more resolute support, more consistent, and I really hope that in February Ramstein meeting will be discussions about jets, about long-range artillery, because it's definitely needed to liberate occupied and annexed territories and to end the war.
Yeah, I see. But if I'm not mistaken, our colleagues from Wall Street Journal, they've said that 31 Abrams, they are gonna be built and sent to Ukraine till the end of this year, or maybe even early 2024. So, US officials do not believe that we're going to win this year.
There are a lot of predictions. If you talk to General Hodges, for instance, he will predict that by summertime, Ukraine can take back occupied territories, including Crimea. Some others saying and other things, but everything depends on the support. Everything depends. And if you are restricting yourself in providing support, definitely it's very difficult to expect any kind of victory. But those Abrams, really, they are quite sophisticated, very difficult logistics, and it was a lot of information about Abrams. But I believe Leopards really can make a difference. And here's a coalition of Leopard tanks, and I really hope that they will come much earlier than end of the year, and that would be a big boost. So, but in addition, definitely the tanks are not sufficient. I would repeat, you also need long-range artillery and definitely jets. So that's about to come, and I hope that will be the case.
I see, yeah. So now let's talk about the next step. Now Ukraine is discussing with the Western partners the sending of F-16, I mean the fight aircrafts. But some Western officials has already said no. But what kind of no is this? Is this a final no? Or maybe this is like no, but maybe? Or is this a kind of no, but it can become yes, but a little bit later?
I believe it's not yet. It's not yet, but that's rather, there was also no about tanks. Also no, I will not repeat, no about many things. Now it's coming. And again, this is taking time. I believe it's really sad that during that time, people being killed and country being destroyed. So this time is also very important. So really, we are doing, I'm from Lithuania, right? We're doing our best and delivering whatever we have, whatever we can. So we do not have jets or tanks. So really, we can encourage others. But this is also important voice, I believe, and we're trying really to strengthen this coalition of not only willing but also able to provide sufficient necessary support. So let's take it tactical statements. Since pilots are already about to be trained, definitely jets will also come as well. And it's a matter of time. But again, time is a very important factor.
Yeah, thank you. But lately we hear there are circulation statements by European officials, quote, upcoming weeks or upcoming months are decisive in this war. And we still hear it for almost a year. So why do they keep saying that?
Well, now I can say that this is definitely decisive because sources of intelligence are saying that Russians preparing for big assault, right? Big attack. Yep. And it could be by 24th of February or about that time, difficult to say. And now they do not have enough strength to do that, not enough capacity. At the same time, weapons which should be provided, they also coming accordingly, not too fast. So time is really very important, and very important for Ukraine to get what it needed. needs, and also not to waste time until Russians will prepare for this counterattack. So simple as that, you know, and that means that really decisive. But I agree, all these almost 1 year of these battles are decisive, and this is really the case. But I hope that now understanding comes. That's really enough is enough. And all these restrictions since the very beginning, you remember that some countries were providing helmets and they thought this is sufficient. Now they understand it's not sufficient. And also very much hope that when they're talking not only about defense, but about importance to liberate occupied territories, that means it's also offense. And for the offense, you definitely need more efficient weapons. And that's change of the mind and, you know, mindset. And this is kind of a breakthrough, I would say. And also qualitatively, when we're talking about providing of weapons, they're not Soviet-made production, it's also Western production. And it's again, new stage. By all means, it's very important for Ukrainian armed forces, not only for today, but also for the future. When we're talking about integration into the security system of the Western countries and notably NATO, that's practical, very important step, and very difficult to deny.
Thank you. The president of Russian Federation, Mr. Putin, has once again said that he can use the nuclear weapon. He threatened the whole West and Ukraine especially once again. Is he serious this time?
Well, very difficult to say because he would be, well, how to say, it's not out of his mind, whatever he's doing. Since very beginning, that would be... He would not predict many things. He would not start war, by the way, because it was stupid to do that. Not to continue, not to stop now. Also not rational, to speak rationally. But since there are not rational arguments, you cannot deny. So if you would ask me, is it possible? I cannot say that 100% not possible. What is irrational is, to say the least. And I'm on one hand, I'm surprised that he repeat again, coming back to this bluffing about nuclear weapons. On the other hand, I'm not surprised because when he feels that somebody on the other side is starting to hesitate, starting to raise some doubts, or again, self-inflicted red lines again appearing, you know, that sometimes our colleagues saying not what they are going to do, but what they are not going to do. And that's very not helpful, to say the least. And I already criticized many times first statements by NATO leaders and others since very beginning of this, not the war, because war started 8 years ago, as we all know, but this last phase.
Escalation,
at the very beginning, it was said that NATO will not engage, it was repeated almost every day. I believe it was also not very helpful, to say the least. So we really should maybe talk less and do more, and that would be more helpful.
Has NATO already drawn a red line for Russia? What do you think of that? And if yes, what is that? Where is the red line?
I hope it was provided through official channels, and unofficially it was said quite clearly what will happen if Russia will use, for instance, tactical nuclear weapons. It was said, by all means, no doubt. So this is, if you can consider that as a red line, it is a red line. But those red lines were crossed many times by Russia, first of all. And we have to really be prepared for unexpected developments. But at the same time, let's focus what we have to do. And what we have to do now to provide really consistent, long-standing support, not only military, but also financial, diplomatic, political, and Rammstein coalitions, as we have now in military area, should be created also in the areas of diplomacy, of financial support, of reconstruction of the country. Although full reconstruction could start only after end of when a war will end, but nevertheless it should be prepared now. And I hope we are on the right track. So altogether we are really facing quite adequately the situation. Although one little thing, we have to do that faster.
The West says, we will support you, Ukraine, as long as it takes. But at the same, Russia claims, we will fight you as long as it takes. So who's got the bigger endurance, West or Russia?
It's a war of attrition, by all no means, and it's applicable to both sides. And it's very difficult. But when you have Russia on one hand with the sanctions, which are not yet acting to the extent we would like to expect, as if you would agree. Maybe by spring it will be more painful. On the other hand, you have coalition of countries and big, so to say, power. Even European Union, 1/6 of world economy. So I doubt that this war of attrition on equal sides, definitely this, on one hand, prolongation of the conflict, maybe it's a small victory for Russia, because I believe those who still can think adequately, they understand that they cannot win this war, either morally or militarily. So prolongation, it's also kind of small victory. But on the other hand, it's attrition. It's really very difficult to expect anything. So very, very bad. So by all means, it's not rational, even talking economically, to prolong this war, because the country being destroyed, and it should be rebuilt, and big money needed. So to take resources from this frozen assets of Russia, that's one thing. It's also not so easily done, as you know, legally. But nevertheless, let's take it. Let's assume this is happening, but it's not enough. Big resources needed. So if country will be destroyed even more, you can imagine how much that costs. So I believe those who still hesitating to provide sufficient support, they should think about this economic factor as well, and that's quite logical.
Thank you for the interview and your personal support. Linas Linkevičius was the guest of Spotlight Ukraine. I wish you well, and we continue.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Latest news, trends, and analytics on all about Ukraine. Like, share, and subscribe. Any questions, proposals, and comments, contact us via email.